Hi everybody, welcome and thank you for joining today's session. Today we're going to be looking at TPG's ProjectPowerPack built on the Microsoft Power Platform technology, and we're going to be focusing on the resource management capability of that solution. My name is Peter O'Neill. I head up TPG, the project group in the UK and Ireland, and my colleague John Downing, as one of our senior PPM consultants, will be leading the toolset demo.
Thanks Peter. Let's get started by looking at today's agenda. TPG Introduction we've just had. I'm now going to do an overview of TPG ProjectPowerPack. I've got a couple of slides to walk through. Then we're going to jump straight into the demo where we're going to view and enter project resource plans. We're going to look at portfolio resource management, and then we're going to look at reporting and aggregation to elements such as portfolio and program. So what is TPG ProjectPowerPack? Well, it's our off-the-shelf pre-configured solution, which has got a comprehensive set of project and portfolio management capabilities and is built on Microsoft's Power Platform. No matter how you're doing your project scheduling, we've got a version that will suit, from simple scheduling all the way through to heavyweight waterfall planning, and of course agile planning as well. We've got a version that's going to work for you. Multiple methods can be combined as well, which means that it works well in organizations moving from lower to higher planning maturity, but it can also cater for different project types within an organization as well. It's also great when overlaid on top of existing Project Online implementations. So we all know that running a project is about more than just a schedule. Well, TPG ProjectPowerPack is jam-packed full of functionality, and we're going to shine a spotlight today on one of our favourite features, indeed one of our customers' favourite features as well, which is our resource and capacity planning. If you do have any questions or want to see any of the other functionality in more detail, please take a look at our YouTube channel or get in contact for a deep dive into the rest of the functionality offered by this tool. So that's it for the slides. We're going to jump straight into the demo. Alright, so what we see here then is TPG ProjectPowerPack in Microsoft 365, accessible through your browser. We straight away are seeing a Power BI dashboard, which is drawing our attention to some aggregated data. If we scroll down a bit as well, we can see the schedules and the overall portfolio, which is quite neat. I'm going to come back to reporting in a little bit more detail near the end of the demo. And next we move on to My Work, which is starting to show the power of the Power Platform, the underlying dataverse where we're storing all of our data, which has a number of different tables of data in and is all related together. We create those relationships up front. So when we create a risk, for example, within a project, automatically that risk knows that it's part of that project, or the system in the background knows that it's part of that project, which of course is very useful for both entering data, viewing data within this interface as well, but also of course in the reporting piece too. So the interface here is very easy to understand and very simple to navigate around. We've got a number of items on the left hand side here. I'm going to jump straight down to the projects element here, and it's going to show us a list of all the projects which are in this system with some metadata associated with that as well, which is quite nice. Again, this is the off-the-shelf solution, so these can be customized as kind of a large part of this solution to your needs. If I just sort this by A to Z as well, again, portfolio summary, a different view here, got some effort in here, total budget, forecast, etc. as well. If I scroll down to the resource management webinar project, we can see a number of different things that I can enter against this particular project. We've got KPIs manually set, as the out of the box solution, some things around estimates, total budgets and things, but also a number of elements here, some aggregating elements, portfolio and program, which I'll come back to later. Worth mentioning that anything that we tag or anything that we create at this level, risks, issues, changes, etc., can be aggregated up to these elements as well, or indeed any other elements that are kind of important to your business, project type or technology, for example, are two that we could aggregate up to if we needed to. So moving into resource plan then, so this is the viewing and entering of the project resource plan. So as I said before, entering data at this level, the system knows straight away that it's part of this project. Again, we can now aggregate that up as we need to. So first thing I'm going to do is create a new row here, and I'm going to do some planning here, and I'm going to add Florian, and I'm going to immediately see actually that Florian has some availability. So it's gone green. If I hover over this, we can see availability for this period is 7 days. So that's quite nice. Now there is a capacity which is set in the background. So we have a base capacity for the months of the year, which is in the background. And of course, we also have Florian as well, the resource record. And in this case, Florian is going to be spending 100% of his time on projects within this system. So those two elements there are what drives the capacity in the background. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to enter some data in here, and I'm going to go for 6 days. I'd like 6 days of Florian's time in every month, and I'm going to use the nice easy to use interface to drag and drop there, and we can see now in this case we've got availability is now down to 1, so we are a lot closer to Florian's capacity. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to just duplicate this. I'm going to also request some of Daniel's time as well. So we've now got 6 days per month of Daniel's time as well, and we can see in some cases this has caused us to go over Daniel's capacity by a certain amount. So the red, amber, green that you see here is all configurable. At the moment it's set at a value, I think it's just a couple of days over the capacity for the particular person, but of course that can all be changed. And actually now we're just going to test that out. I'm going to go for 10 days now, and yeah, there we go. So Florian is now 3 days over, so he's got 3 days worth of work more than he can do in January. And I'm now going to again use the easy interface here to drag and drop that across to that right hand side. Now looking at this then with a different hat on, so I'm now going to look at my portfolio resource management. I'm going to change my hat. I'm now a resource manager, and I'm going to click on my resource plans down this left hand side, which is now going to aggregate up all of our resource plans across the entire portfolio. So we can see here we have Florian. So what I could do is I could just change that around, let's flick that over there, and I could see for the project, I could see all the different resource plans which I've created, but actually the view I had was quite nice already. So I'm going to go back to that again, just drag this around again, really nice and easy to make the changes, manipulate the view to see the data in the way that you want to see it. Again, with my different hat on, I'm going to come to my resource management project and say, actually, you know what? You can't have that amount of Florian's time. In this case, we're going to say you can actually only have 7 days for this particular project. Again, I'm going to drag and drop this over to that right hand side. He's now gone yellow, so his availability is matching well there with the capacity. And now I'm going to go back to the project, and I'm going to see, having started at the bottom up and push the resource plan up, I've then gone to the top and looked down. I've changed that resource plan, and we can see that's now been updated in the project as well. So as I said before, this is a customer favorite, the high level planning of resources. But we have recently added some extra functionality here as well. So I've created a couple of lines in there. I'm now going to delete those actually, delete those rows. And I do have a schedule in here which has got some just high level tasks. I'm just going to have a quick look at that. So I come over to my schedule tab. I'm going to have a look in here and see, okay, well I've got actually 3 tasks in here. I'm now going to zoom out a little bit so you can see all of those in a row. So I've got Florian, I've got Daniel again, and I've got Florian again at the end. Now what I can actually do is I can come back into my resource plan, and I can synchronize my team. So I click the button here, and what it does is it pulls in, as we saw a second ago, I've got the 3 tasks. I've got the delivery and support requirements and the development piece, and now I can also see that I have what we call in TPG the eyebrow, which tells us based on the schedule, this is when you need to be requesting time. So I can come in here and just flick that around as well. And now what I'm going to do is actually, now I've thought about it and I've got my schedule, actually I only need 7 days of Florian's time in these particular months. And again, if I go down here, I actually only need Daniel's time, 7 days for those particular months there as well. So again, taking that really simple interface and just kind of stepping up a little notch, linking it to the schedule, which again, if I then go to my resource plans, I can see that my bottom-up approach, my requesting of that time, has now been updated again. So in this case, I've got two different tasks in here, you can see, which have both had the 7 days against them. So as we've seen, we've entered data at the project level, and as I mentioned before, what's really important about that is we can then aggregate all of the data. So everything that we've seen here along the top, but also of course the resource plans as well, we can get into our program, which again, nice hyperlink here, easy to navigate around, get straight into our program and start to see some of the information aggregated up here. So budgets and things like that, and all of the different projects together which form part of this particular program. Again, it's exactly the same with portfolios. If I this time come from the portfolio and I know which one it's part of the Centauri portfolio, again, we've got some information which has been aggregated here. And again, if I click on my projects, we can see that we have a list full of projects, and there's our project we've just been working on. Again, everything that we've got in the system can be aggregated at these levels, but also within the reporting piece as well. So if I now click on the portfolio down here, we can see that we're now loading a portfolio report. This off-the-shelf solution has a large number of reports out of the box, and we can see already we have a summary dashboard here, and I can start to click on these things. So I can go for a yellow, look at my projects by health and go for yellow, and we can see that's automatically filtered down for us. So if I click on yellow again, that undoes the filter for us, and now we can go and have a look over on this left-hand side. We've got some resource reports. So if I come down to my resource report and look at my summary tab, we can see we've got the data, again, everything that's in the system, we can aggregate it in here. We can see, okay, we've got Florian, we've got the proposed time against Florian that we've just entered into the system. Again, these are just the off-the-shelf reports. If there are reports or specific views you need to see, we can of course customize those. If I come down to my availability as another example here, we can see a heat map view of the demand as well. So we've got the demand, and this time we've got the capacity in here as well. And of course, here we see the availability, the difference between the two, which is quite nice indeed. If I click on my chart, we can start to draw attention to some people that may be in quite a lot of trouble here. It seems that Christoph, for example, has been assigned an awful lot of work for these months, and maybe we need to get in there and have a look at that and help him out somehow, maybe assign that to someone else or spread that across multiple resources in the system. And again, now if I come down to my demand tab, we've got our resource demand by project, and I've got a number of different slices that I can throw at the top here, a number of different selections I can make around seeing the different demands by the group, by the portfolio, group by the program, project we've already just looked at, things that department as well, and also of course by resource. And the key thing here is that anything that we have in the system we can aggregate, and we can slice and dice by any of the metadata that we're also holding in the system as well. So that's it for the demo for today. If you'd like any more information or a more detailed demonstration covering the full range of features that the TPG ProjectPowerPack has to offer, then feel free to contact us here in the UK or at your local TPG office around the world.